Radio 1110 KFAB.
Shrock Innovations presents the Midwest's #1 independent computer repair company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, and across the country via the Shrock desk. This is ComputeThis.
Good morning, folks, and welcome into ComputeThis. My name is Thor Shrock, and I'm the owner of the Shrock Innovations Computer Company, where we currently have 3 service centers to help you out when your computer's having issues. The original service center is in Lincoln, Nebraska, South 15th Street, just a couple blocks south of Pine Lake there. In Omaha, we're at 168th and Burke, which is just across the street from the Village Point Mall, right across the street from Best Buy, actually. In Papillion, 84th and Highway 370 in Midlands Place, just up the street from a Best Buy. Do you kind of see the pattern here? Lincoln was going to open a Best Buy in South Lincoln when Circuit City was around, and that's why we located there. And then Circuit City went kaput, and Best Buy said nope, and that's why there's no Best Buy near the Lincoln shop. Just for the record. The funny thing is all of our competitors located near the Best Buy in Lincoln, and then the Best Buy moved, and they didn't. So funny stuff. And now the latest service center opening next month in Des Moines, Iowa, serving the central Iowa area, is our brand new service center located at 9500 University Avenue. So we are in West Des Moines, Iowa there. We're going to be opening up in August. We don't have a specific date yet because the sign on the front of the building is going to take 4 to 6 weeks. So if it's 4 weeks, it'll be 2 weeks earlier opening than if it's 6 weeks. Yeah, you see how that works out? But the cool thing is in Des Moines, you're going to start to hear some additional marketing on radio. You're going to see some TV commercials talking about the fact that we are going to be opening the service center. And just a quick shout out to all of our Des Moines listeners. Please click share, click like, share this program with people who are outside of the WHO listening demographic, because I can't tell you anything in my life that I have done that's scarier than opening a service center in the middle of a pandemic. Literally every day you watch the news and it's like, new mask requirements, and you're like, oh gosh, here we go. No, shutdown's coming back. Oh gosh, here we go. And it's just terrifying. So on one hand, to the victor go the spoils, and fortune favors the bold, and all those other sayings that you can throw out there. The best time to move as a business is when nobody else is moving. And that's what we're doing. That's why we're expanding and opening the service center in Des Moines on our schedule, even though there's a pandemic going on. Who would have known that 2 years ago when we started the radio show? In fact, that's one of the reasons why we've started the radio show in Kansas City on KMBZ 98.1 FM. Welcome to all of our Kansas City metro area listeners. We're glad to have you on the program today, because that's the next place we're looking at going. So you can see that there's a pattern, right? And hopefully 2 years from now, it's not like, the locusts or the meteors are coming or something, some other crazy thing, because then I might just stop. It's like, I just can't do this anymore. The nerves. But I appreciate you joining us on the program. We got a great show planned for you. But first, let me tell you what we covered last week in case you missed that program. You might be new to the show today. Maybe you didn't hear what we did last week. If you did miss last week's show, you can listen to it on our website at ShrockInnovations.com. But basically, last week, we talked to you about new ransomware that was specifically attacking Mac users. Mac users, just in summary, you must have antivirus on your computer. You have to do it. I know that there are some people that have Macs that still believe that they do not need antivirus on their computer, but you genuinely do need antivirus on your computer. Number 2, once we were done doing that, we talked about what was the big deal behind TikTok. You remember all the companies banning TikTok all of a sudden? So we told you what was going on there with the Chinese Communist government with TikTok, and the reason why so many companies banned it. Amazon then interestingly reversed their ban, which was kind of weird, but nobody else did. Everybody else kept the ban on, especially banks. Employees who work at banks should not have TikTok installed on their phones, just saying. Or any sensitive position. If you're doing COVID-19 research or testing, do not have TikTok installed on your phone. It's literally a direct line to the Chinese government, is what the U.S. government is insinuating through their bans here. Also, we talked about what was going on with Broadcom's acquisition of Semantic Endpoint. This is of particular importance to our customers because the majority of Shrock customers are running what we recommend, which is currently Semantic Endpoint. Broadcom purchased Endpoint late last year from Semantic. That's why you heard Semantic spin their not that's commercial, but consumer version of their antivirus off as the Norton LifeLock, powered by Norton 360, which is the 2015 software with a facelift that they retired in 2015. Not highly recommended, honestly. The second thing, though, is then they transferred the corporate stuff, the Semantic Endpoint, off to Broadcom. And when Broadcom got it, they did not purchase the portal that allows us to monitor the security status of your computer, that allows us to assign licenses and change licenses and start and stop subscriptions. And they figured they had plenty of time because they purchased this thing in November of 19 and they had until November of 20 to build their own portal, but then COVID. And that's kind of slowed things down a little bit. So we told you what was going on with that and some plans, some things that we're looking at Shrock. Actually, we're looking at a possible different solution for our customers. It's a more expensive solution on our end, not for you. We're not going to raise the price to you, but it's literally 100% more expensive on our end. It's double the price, but it offers advanced ransomware protections. And there is not a week that goes by we do not have a story. Oh my gosh, watch out for the ransomware. And I think it's about time that we made sure that our customers, whether they feel that they need it or not, if we can elevate that protection level, that's something that we've always told you we would do. If something came along that was better than Endpoint, we would let you know. So we're evaluating that right now to see if Broadcom is going to keep up their end of the bargain here. And if not, we may recommend moving to a more, stable management solution, which would probably be Sophos. So we're going to talk to you about that, where we talked about that last week on the show. So if you want to catch all the details in that conversation, you can pull that up at ShrockInnovations.com. Most importantly, we told you, how can you win a free Intrepid laptop from Shrock Innovations? That's right, an $800 laptop for free. How can you do it? Well, it's really, really easy. First off, you go to ShrockInnovations.com. ShrockInnovations.com. Once you're at ShrockInnovations.com, you find the black banner at the center of the page that says Vote for Us in the Best of Omaha competition. You click that banner. When you click that banner, it doesn't actually register your vote. It takes you to the contest page. And the contest page is where you can manage all of your entries because, yes, you could just go vote and we don't know who you vote for, by the way. We ask you to vote for us, but you could vote for, Mickey Mouse Computer Company and we're going to still count your entry. So voting for Shrock is not required to enter the contest. Although, come on, guys, we're really hoping you vote for us if we're giving away a laptop, seriously. But go click the link and go vote for Shrock or vote in the Best of Omaha competition. Once you have voted, you have to vote for like 5 businesses, so you can't just pick Shrock and then hit submit. You've got to vote for, I think, at least 5, so you'll have to find some other businesses that you can pick and put in there. Also, this is not restricted to the Omaha Metro. Anybody hearing me in Missouri, for example, or Iowa can go ahead and get in on this contest as well. But you go ahead and you click to vote over at ShrockInnovations.com, and once you have voted there, I'm going to post the direct link here in the show notes so that you guys can click on it right now if you want to on your computers or phones if you would like to do that. But once you're there, you do the Vote in the Best of Omaha competition. Once you've completed your vote, you can get additional entries by taking extra actions. Those are all outlined on the contest page. There was a glitch that said the contest was over. The contest is not over. It goes on through the 20th of August. So there's lots of time to get in on the entry. Don't let the number of entries that the contest page tell you. It tells you how many entries there are in the contest. Keep in mind that one person can have 9 entries in the contest. So take that number, divide by 9, and that's how many people you're up against. The odds of winning are outstanding. So check that out, ShrockInnovations.com. Click on the black banner to vote for us in the Best of Omaha competition, or click the link that I just posted in the show notes for you there as well. It's our most popular laptop, the Intrepid. No purchase is necessary to enter the contest. You don't have to buy anything. You can enter just by voting in the Best of Omaha competition. It's free and easy. You don't need a Google account. You don't need a Facebook account. Anything like that, it's all third party, so you don't have any privacy concerns. So you also don't have to have a Yelp account, by the way, if you decide. But if you want the extra entries, like review us on Facebook, review us on Google, you do have to have the accounts required to do that. If you're not comfortable setting up the accounts, just skip that one and go on to the next entry option. All right, so the last thing about the laptop. You might have an awesome laptop. Maybe you just bought a new laptop, or maybe you upgraded because you were working from home and you don't really need a laptop. One thing I would strongly urge you to consider, laptops are incredibly difficult to find right now. I was able to give you an idea, the Boundless laptop. We have been selling our pre-purchased inventory now for 2 months. I have not been able to get, or excuse me, the Resolute laptop. I have not been able to get the lower end, the cheapest one that we sell, the Resolute. I have not been able to find those for almost 45 days. I have found 5 this week that I was able to order in. 5. That's how hard it is on our side to get laptops. You want to see another example? Go to bestbuy.com and go try to buy a printer under $150. They don't exist. Not a multifunction one. I mean, you can get like a basic junk inkjet, one page at a time blurry printer, but you can't get something that's got a scanner on it, or that's got, like the all-in-one printer, like the home office printer that you could buy for like $80 before. You can't find those. They don't exist anymore. Nobody has them at that price. They're all $150, $200, $300, $400 for a printer. Webcams are the same way. The Logitech webcam that cost you $80 before COVID is now a $125 camera, $150 camera. And that's if you can find it. That's used. That's the used price. So all I'm saying, guys, is that we have not seen the end of the technology shortages yet. So if you do win this laptop, this would make an amazing gift, because there's not going to be a lot of laptops given away at Christmas this year, if you know what I mean, because you just won't be able to find them. So this would make an amazing gift, or you could donate it to a church or a charity of your choice that's doing good work. Donate it to a COVID warrior, somebody who's out there every day, risking their life or their family's lives to, make sure that people stay healthy in the hospital system. Give it to somebody who can use it for something if you don't want it. All right. Number to join us on the program today, 888-250-2091. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about real quick this morning before we jump into the stories of the day. We've been doing interviews for the new Des Moines Service Center, and some of the people that we have interviewed have worked for our soon-to-be competitors in the Des Moines market. One of the things that we have come to light in our market research for Des Moines is a very interesting difference in the way that just about everyone in Des Moines sells computer repair services that's different from the way that Shrock does it. So I want to take a moment to address this really quick, because there is a reason why we don't do this. Some of our local competitors here in Nebraska also sell their services at a flat rate. In other words, if you bring your computer in for a repair, they will, how much is it going to cost to fix X, Y, or Z? And they say, well, parts, whatever the parts are, plus usually $100 to $130. And that's the labor cost for the whole job. Doesn't matter how long it takes. Doesn't matter what we have to do to fix the problem. That's the cost. So imagine you're bringing a computer into a service center. This is why we don't do this at Shrock. We charge by the hour. So if you're going to use 3 hours of our time, we're going to bill you for 3 hours of our time. If the repair takes an hour or less, a lot of times if you have the new customer coupon, we will fix your computer for free. So there's a rate card that says this is how much time each thing is supposed to take. So we can give you a quote ahead of time and tell you what you'll expect to pay, and we always stick to our quote. But this is why we do it that way. When you have a scenario where you have a flat rate charge, let's just say the flat rate is $100. When you bring your computer into a service center that has a flat rate repair cost, if they can't fix your computer in 15 minutes or less, do you know what they do? They wipe it. They say we have to do an operating system reinstall to solve this problem for you at that rate. Sorry. So as you can imagine, a lot of computer problems take more than 15 minutes to trace and track down and fix. So a lot of people, you can wipe your own computer. There's a function built right into the computer that wipes the Windows operating system and reinstalls it. It even leaves your files behind. That's literally what they're doing for $130. F9. It's like, wow, thanks. You didn't solve my problem, but of course then when I reinstall all my software, the problem is back. What do I do? And to us, that's just bad service. We can't do it. We charge by the hour because we actually fix the problem. For example, we had a gentleman that called into the Papillion Service Center last week. His Outlook was taking 5-6 minutes to synchronize his folders through he had a Cox internet connection, a Cox email account, and it was an IMAP, so it was synchronizing all these folders that he had saved. And of course, once they're synchronized one time, they don't need to be resynchronized every time you sync the computer, especially if they haven't changed. Yet his Outlook was set to do that, which is the default setting. So we, rather than telling him, okay, we're going to wipe your computer and we are going to get everything straightened out for you, and then we're going to send it home where you can then on your own time reinstall your own Outlook, set up your own email again, download all this stuff again. Of course, Outlook will still have its default settings. And then, boom, the problem is right back again. And you're $130 poorer. You think we're a terrible company. That's why we don't do that. This particular gentleman, we fixed it over the Shrock desk by changing the default settings of Outlook. Now, how did we know to change the default settings of Outlook? We have experienced technicians. You see, when you have a flat rate repair cost, you hire inexperienced technicians because there's no downside to it, right? You can pay inexperienced technicians less. If they can't fix the problem in 15 minutes, they get really, really good at wiping things, like with a cloth and stuff, like really good at it. So if you actually charge by the hour, you have an obligation to make sure your technicians, first of all, walk in the door with some training and experience. Secondly, they know their stuff. And third, you have a program in place to train them up so that they know what they're doing. You have to do those things if you charge hourly. If you charge flat rate, not necessary. So this particular gentleman, not only did we fix his problem over the Shrock desk, you see, he's a Shrock desk subscriber. That's our online help service. It's $30 a month for unlimited tech support. So you know what it cost him to have our experienced technicians to actually fix his computer problem rather than just wipe his computer and send him on his way? He got a bill for $0 because he had a $30 a month subscription for unlimited tech support. That's what we do at Shrock. That's why we're different. That's how we're different. That's why I don't have a problem coming on the radio and asking you to vote for us in the Best of Omaha. Because I genuinely, every single day, we're working to be better and better and better at what we do. 888-250-2091. When we come back from the break, we got a story for you today, folks. Why and how did Elon Musk, people like Barack Obama, steal Bitcoin from unsuspecting Twitter victims? Can you believe this? We're going to tell you how, in the middle of a pandemic, they were able to just fleece these poor people. Coming up next on Compute This.
Today's fragile computers need maintenance more than ever. Your computer needs a maintenance checkup every 6 months to last beyond its 18-month expected lifespan. Every person listening to this broadcast has either experienced data loss or knows someone who has. When you think about it, you have a lot more data stored in many more places than you'd like to admit. Have you downloaded those videos from your phone, backed up the pictures on your iPad, or even tackled that sometimes daunting task of backing up your entire computer's hard drive? Most people just don't back up their stuff, and that's why Shrock Innovations has one of the most advanced data recovery centers in the Midwest. Equipped with the latest DDI data imaging devices, state-of-the-art custom recovery software, and Omaha's best data recovery technicians, Shrock Innovations has a 96.8% success rate when recovering data from damaged hard drives, flash drives, camera cards, and more. We all know we should back up our data, but if you are ever caught in a data loss nightmare, call the experts at Shrock Innovations to get your data back right where it belongs, safe and backed up on a stable hard drive. Compute This Pro Tip 423. Everyone knows you need an antivirus and firewall program for your computer, but which one is the best? Should you use the free ones, pay for a commercial product, or maybe even the free stuff your internet service provider gives you? The absolute worst thing you can do is to install nothing. Windows 10 comes with Windows Defender, but Microsoft never intended it to be your primary antivirus product. Free antivirus like AVG or Avast are more effective than Windows Defender, but Consumer Reports ranks the free antivirus products in the middle of the pack when compared to their commercial competitors. As for the free software from your internet provider, forget about it. It's designed to protect their network, not your computer. There are two products that trade the crown for best antivirus software year after year: Shrock recommends Semantic products like Endpoint, but the Russian-made Kaspersky Antivirus program also does an outstanding job. This pro tip brought to you by Shrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name's Thor Shrock. I'm the owner of the Shrock Innovations Computer Company. Shrock Innovations does everything from fixing computers to programming websites for you to load on your computers. We do computer repair. We do new computers. If you're looking for a brand new system, our computers are the modular PCs, solid-state desktops, absolutely amazing. We also do corporate services. If you're looking for someone that can handle your corporate IT, especially right now with COVID, we don't care if your computers are located in one building or distributed among employees. You pay one flat price per computer you want to have covered annually. So you can budget exactly how much your IT expense is going to be. We'll come up with a technology lifecycle plan for your computers, for your business. Also, we do preventative maintenance. We do free contactless pick up and drop off. If you prefer contact, we can do contact too. Of course, our service centers are all open. You can come into the service center and drop off your computer. Typically in a Shrock service center, we're going to check in around 13 to 30 computers in total a day. So it's pretty rare that you're going to come into one of our service centers and find another customer in the service center at the same time. Our service centers, especially the new Des Moines service center, are designed for social distancing. In our service centers, masks are welcome. They are not mandatory at this point, unless, of course, we're in a city like what Lincoln has done, where masks are mandatory in any setting, whereas 6-foot social distance is not possible. As I just explained, however, the only time in our service centers among our staff or our customers where a 6-foot separation is not possible is when you want to sit down next to one of our people and go through a problem on your laptop and show us what's going on. And at that point, my employees all have masks on their physical person. They will don their mask. So it's one of those things, guys. Our job is to make you feel comfortable. Our job is to service you and provide you for your needs in the best way that we possibly can while providing the safest environment possible. That's why all of our, as you know, if you've ever been in before, we actually clean your computer very thoroughly when it's in the service center. We blow all the dust and gunk out of the inside, and then we wipe down the exterior and make it ping. Awesome. Well, the reason we do that is because when we fix your computer, the only visible indication that you have when you pick it up that we did anything at all to your computer is its physical cleanliness. That's why we've always done it in the past. But now, when people say, what do you clean them with? Honestly, Windex. Except for the screen, we make sure we don't use the ammonia-based Windex because of the screens. So now what we're doing is we're actually mixing a 70% solution of rubbing alcohol with our Windex, making it a sanitizing spray that isn't going to burn your kid's legs on a shopping cart or anything crazy like that. It's just rubbing alcohol. But it's sanitizing, and we're going to clean the computer, and we know once we clean the gunk off the computer, we actually know how to use sanitizer, guys, unlike every other retail place you ever go in town. When you're at the grocery store and they're spraying the belt and wiping it off, that's not sanitizing anything. It's not. It's physically cleaning it, but they could spit on the belt and wipe it around for as much as it's sanitizing it. Because sanitizer has to sit on a surface and air dry, usually between 3 and 6 minutes for it to actually sanitize the surface. That's why we use rubbing alcohol. Guess what dries very quickly? That we can spray on in a light enough mist that it's not going to do any damage to electronic components, evaporates very quickly, and still has cleaning properties. It's amazing, right? That's why we call it Shrock Innovations, folks. 888-250-2091. So how did all the money go bye-bye? Where did all the Bitcoin go? Where have all the Bitcoins gone? Oh yeah, I could sing all show, but you wouldn't like that. All right, so on Twitter, you can post tweets, right? We're all familiar with this now. We're in the Twitter era. Say that 10 times really fast. The Twitter era. We're in the Twitter era. You have to really pump your R's. The Twitter era. And when you post a tweet, people believe it's legit. And because Twitter does such a good job on security, if somebody's Twitter gets hacked, it's because that dummy was using the same password for Twitter they were using for something else, right? Well, all of a sudden, at the same time, a whole bunch of people in the world, people like Bill Gates, people like Elon of SpaceX and Tesla fame, people like Barack Obama were posting that they have heard the people, and they understand that it is time for the wealthy in this country to give back. Therefore, if you send 1 Bitcoin to the following address, I will send you back 2 Bitcoins. Yeah. Now, I'd like to believe if I did this live on air, guys, if I gave you, first of all, of the subset of you that know how to send a Bitcoin, right? Because, I mean, not everybody knows how to send cryptocurrency around. But those of you who do, I would genuinely hope and be excited to believe that you would not be silly enough to send me a Bitcoin on the promise that I was going to send you 2 Bitcoins back. Now, let me take the Bitcoin part out of this. Let's pretend that you're putting money in an envelope, okay, and you're mailing it to me. A Bitcoin is worth $9,200. So all you have to do, guys, is put $9,200 cash in an envelope, put a little stamp on it, mail it to me. You can pick whatever service center you want. Just mail it in. And I will mail you back $18,400 in cash because it's time to give back to the people. That is only the people that have $9,200 in their bank account right now to send me in cash. You know, it's a scam. No one got any Bitcoin back. The bad guys made over $100,000 in Bitcoin. So in other words, if they did it in full Bitcoins, they found like 10 people that were stupid enough to be like, if Barack Obama's posting this, surely it must be true. And they sent their Bitcoin in. Well, turns out Barack Obama didn't post that. Elon didn't post that. Bill Gates was busy making vaccines, and he did not post that. Somebody hacked Twitter, except it wasn't a hack. Somebody hacked an internal employee at Twitter and stole the username or password to the magical interface that Twitter uses to take control of people's accounts, to shadow ban. Remember the shadow banning that wasn't happening? There are screenshots of the interface of this supposed software now, and literally there are different levels of shadow banning you can assign to an account. So the whole thing about Twitter's not banning people who they disagree with is completely untrue. Individual employees at Twitter have the power to do this on individual accounts. And one of those employees got hacked, lost their credentials. Somebody logged into the system because Twitter, everyone's working from home, right? So they can't restrict it to the Twitter office. So somebody logs in from somewhere outside the office, and all of a sudden they take control of all these people's accounts, post the fake tweets, and it takes Twitter a couple hours to figure out what's going on. And in that time, the bad guys steal $100,000 in Bitcoin. Untraceable, you can't take it back, can't charge it back. It's gone. So if you ever see somebody who wants you to send $9,200 cash in an envelope on the promise of getting $18,400 back, doesn't matter how good their grammar is, they may not be Nigerian, but it's still a scam. 888-250-2091. When we come back from the break, Huawei, Chinese phone company, has released a monster phone. This thing is the Huawei P40 Pro Plus, because Pro wasn't enough and Plus wasn't enough, so now it's the Pro Plus. But it's a beast of a phone with just one minor problem. Would you spend $1,600 on it? We'll tell you all about it coming up next on Compute This.
Shrock Innovations can't teleport technicians to you, but online help is only a click away with the Shrock Desk. Subscribe today and get unlimited help whenever you need it.
Welcome to Shrock Innovations. How can I help you today?
I'm having a problem with my computer.
You're at the right place. We fix problems with computers.
That's why I'm here.
What seems to be the problem with your computer?
When I press the power button, it doesn't boot up. How fast can you fix it?
We're the fastest computer fixer in Omaha. We'll fix it fast.
How fast?
Real fast. Do you have it plugged in when you turn it on?
Of course it was plugged in. Do people make that mistake a lot?
You'd be surprised. When you press the power button, what happens?
It roars, then stops and sits.
Ooh, like a lion?
Like a what? Well, I suppose.
Sounds like a bad power supply, sir.
Is that bad?
It's not good, but we can fix it fast.
How fast?
How's that for fast?
Does it work?
Yes, sir. More purring, less roaring now.
Wow, that was fast.
Shrock Innovations is the fastest computer repair in Omaha, sir.
That's great, but all this talking is making me hungry. You guys sell sandwiches?
We do fast computer repair. If you want a fast sandwich, you have to go someplace else. Why would we sell sandwiches?
I don't know. All this fast talking is strangely familiar.
Shrock Innovations. If you want a fast sandwich, don't go there. But if you want your computer fixed and back on your desk fast, give them a call or visit their website at ShrockInnovations.com. Compute This pro tip number 753. Have you ever wondered how the bad guys always seem to find a way into your computer? Gone are the good old days of email worms and I love you viruses. Nobody wants to steal your data anymore, or in many cases even your identity. Today's cyber criminals want to sell access to your computer or hold your data for ransom. The bad guys are exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities to break into systems that are supposed to be hack-proof. These vulnerabilities are always newly discovered, and the criminals have a brief time to exploit them before they get patched. Antivirus and firewalls do not prevent these attacks, but you can minimize your computer's exposure by installing all security patches as quickly as possible. The average computer needs 12 patches a week. That's not including the ones that are automatically delivered to your computer. Boost your cybersecurity by staying on top of it manually, or use a patch installation program like Secure Updater to get your computer the patches it needs. This pro tip is brought to you by Shrock Innovations Computer Company.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. An excessive heat wave has much of the lower 48 sweltering today.
It's probably the hottest weekend we've seen so far this entire summer. We still have heat advisories, warnings, watches stretching from the plains. You're seeing Tulsa up through Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, and then, of course, along the East Coast, more of that extreme heat. It's the heat plus the humidity that's really getting these numbers high. Your daytime highs are going to be in the 90s, 95 degrees in New York City today, 97 degrees down in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz. Police in Portland, Oregon, declaring last night's protests a riot. Cops resorted to tear gassing the mob after a building was set ablaze, along with several dumpster fires. Such demonstrations have been going on since the death of George Floyd in May. Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf has labeled protesters lawless anarchists. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
A few scattered showers and storms remain possible, primarily south of I-80 through about mid-morning. Then we will see decreasing clouds today, lower humidity, with high temperatures in the upper 80s near the 90-degree mark. Some much-needed rainfall moves back into the overnight hours tonight and early Monday. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist Mallory Schnell on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name's Thor Shrock. I'm the owner of the Shrock Innovations Computer Company. Service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, and coming soon to West Des Moines, Iowa at 9500 University Avenue next month. Those of you listening in Des Moines, if you have a pressing need for your computer, Helen just commented on Facebook and said that she's patiently waiting for the service center to open because she has things that need to be done to her computer now. If you're in that boat, we are making weekly trips down to the Des Moines Service Center right now to basically build it, right? So every Wednesday we have a crew down there that's building the place up. Give us a call in Papillion and we can make arrangements. If it's something that we can do with the partially functional service center, hopefully next week we'll have internet finally and phones and stuff in there. But right now we don't even have internet, so we're doing everything on a hotspot. You know, it's not ideal. Some things we do have to take back to the Papillion Service Center, so it'll take a week on the turnaround time. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But if there's something pressing that you need to have done, give us a call in the Papillion Service Center, and we will make arrangements to help you at the Des Moines Service Center, even though it's not open, as long as you're willing to accept a little mess when you walk in the door. We're not open for business yet because we don't have all the necessary stuff that we need to do that. But if we have a customer in a crunch or somebody who's waiting to do business with us, we are going to make sure that we get them helped out, even if it is us transporting the computer back to the Papillion Service Center to help you from there. 888-250-2091 is the number to join us, and that's what Jim has done. Jim, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Good morning, Thor.
Morning.
Hey, we lost our internet, and I'm pretty sure it's the modem, even though when I got a hold of Cox, they really couldn't tell me for sure. So I wanted to find out from you any recommendations for modems, because they'll run from, like the Netgear ones, from $70 to $200, and so I wanted to get a little opinion before I bought one.
Yeah, absolutely. So the only thing you need to, the big thing that you need to pay attention to with a Cox modem, number one, Cox's service in the Omaha metro area has been absolutely, I'm containing my anger, atrocious, awful, despicable, up and down like a yo-yo, TV and internet. I don't know what the deal is right now with Cox. Maybe it's just in my neighborhood in Papillion, but our entire neighborhood, we have a Facebook page for our neighborhood, and literally when it goes down in my house, you jump on Facebook on LTE, of course, because you can't get on the internet, and everyone in the neighborhood's like, yep, it's down again. And you call Cox, and of course you have to, talk to somebody in India or text with some guy who doesn't have the ability to do anything. And I've replaced. The reason I bring this up is I had to replace my really nice $250 Netgear modem with a piece of junk Aris, $100 modem because that was all I could get. And they told me my modem was bad and that was the problem. With the new modem, I have the same exact problems. So here's the deal. Do you have gigabit service right now?
No.
Do you ever see yourself getting gigabit service in the future?
Probably not.
Okay. The only thing that the gigabit really does is it removes the data cap from your account. So if you're exceeding your data cap, it can actually be a cheaper monthly bill, depending on how much you're exceeding your data cap by, to get gigabit, because it's only $50 more a month, and it's $10 per 10 gigabytes or something like that that you go over. And so in our house, we were crushing it. We were going 50, 60, 70 gigs over. So it actually made money sense to buy the gigabit. But the gigabit requires a different type of modem than the regular internet does. So there's on the boxes, you'll see that it says DOCS. The cheaper ones are going to be DOCS 3.0. Those will not do gigabit. The DOCS 3.1s will do gigabit. So given the choice between the two, if they're the same price, get the one that's the 3.1, because if you ever decide to do gigabit in the future, you can. What I can say, again, because the service is so unstable in my neighborhood, I cannot definitively conclude that the Eris modem is of lesser quality than my Netgear modem is, but I have noticed that we have a lot more drops now after we replace the modem with the cheaper modem. So my recommendation would be to buy the Netgear, the higher end Netgear modem, which is going to be the DOCS 3.1, so that you are future proof, because just like Cox does with everything else, eventually the gigabit service will be the only service that's offered. It will come down in price a little bit and then go up again, and it'll end up charging you more because that's how it works. But eventually everybody will be on gigabit. And so I would recommend, if you're going to replace the modem and plan on keeping it for a few years, you grab one of the 3.1s.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate the call. And sorry about the Cox rant there. It hit home for me right in that call, and I don't know why my anger slipped out. All right. As easy as that, Jim's in the drawing for a $25 Shrock Innovations gift certificate that we'll give away here at the end of the program. And all he had to do was join us with a phone call and be a part of the program. You too can join us, 888-250-2091. All right. So we talked about this new Huawei phone, the P40 Pro Plus. It's a ginormous phone. It has 4 cameras on the back. It is a full-featured powerhouse of a phone that would give any Samsung or iPhone a run for its money. It is also more expensive than the most expensive iPhone at $1,600. Now, I did have to convert that into U.S. currency because they price it in $1,499 British pounds. The reason being that people in America don't buy a lot of Huawei phones, but people overseas do. There's a lot of Huawei phones in Europe, for example. In Asia, there's tons of Huawei phones. Now, the problem is that because of the trade restrictions between the United States and China, Huawei is no longer able to offer Google services or order processors or things like that from the United States. So therefore, you're going to get this Huawei phone running an Android operating system, and the reason they can do that is it's open source. There's no license to China to do that. Anybody in the world can grab Android and use the raw Android form, and anybody can modify it, which is what Samsung does and LG does and everybody else. Apple has their own operating system, as you know, Apple OS X. So basically, the two operating systems are different, but Huawei uses Android's operating system, except there is no access to Google services built into the phone. That means there is no Google Play Store at all, no apps. That means there is no Gmail, no Google Calendar, no YouTube, nothing like that. None of the American companies, no Twitter, not that they would allow that, no Facebook, not that they would allow that. Nothing. Now, there are a couple of interesting technological improvements, if you will, that they have made to try to get around this. They created a side-loading utility that allows you to transfer the apps that exist on your current phone over to your new phone. So the upside here is if you have like a banking app and other things that you got through the Play Store, you can transfer them from your old phone to your new phone. The problem is because there is no Play Store on the new phone, they will never receive updates. So eventually the apps will stop working because the company that makes the app has created security updates, especially on banking apps and other things like that, and they're going to obsolete it. The other side of this is China does have their own app, or their own kind of app store, and the problem is that nobody posts their apps in the app store in China right now because If you do that, you have to give up your intellectual property, and we all know what happens if you give China the source code for your international property of your banking app. That's not a good idea. So as a result, a lot of Western apps are just not available in China's app store. And so the Huawei phone is a $1,600 phone that can make phone calls and take pictures and video and run Chinese apps. So I'm sure it does very well in the Chinese market. I'm not sure how well it's going to do in the European market. And this is a great opportunity for Apple and Samsung to retake some of that market share back from Huawei, who's been subsidized by the Chinese government for so long, which is why so many places are using their phones in Europe. 888-250-2091. Robert, welcome to the program. How can I help you and compute this today?
I cannot print.
Well, that's a problem.
And I wanted to see if you could help me.
What happens when you try to print?
Well, it depends. If I try to print a Word document, a new box opens up and it says print the file.
Okay.
Then it asks for a file name and save as type, and then OK, and then nothing happens. It just goes into Never Never Land.
All right. So, did you recently get a new printer?
No.
Okay. So, what happens when you do print, when you hit the print function and you go and open that interface window, it is going to bring up a box. It's called a dialog box. That's where you tell it how many copies you want to print, and you hit OK. Up at the top of that box, there is a drop-down menu, and print to file is one of the options that you can select. That's the only option if you don't have a printer installed. So as long as you have a printer installed, that drop-down box, it sounds like it got changed away from your HP printer, for example, or your Epson printer or your Canon printer over to the Microsoft print to file. So all you have to do is click on that drop-down menu and change it back to the printer. Once you switch it back to the printer, it should print just like it always did before. Now, if you go to that drop-down and the printer is missing, that means that the printer needs to be reinstalled on your computer. And then, of course, that will be dependent on what type of printer you have. They all have different installation, whether it's wireless or USB. There's a lot of variables in that decision tree to go through. I can't do that one on the radio for you, but check that dialog box because it's going to be a setting there that you can change in the drop-down that will allow you to pick the right printer instead of the Microsoft print to file. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it, Robert. Hopefully that gets your printer up and running for you. If you continue to have issues with it, give us a call in the service center. We're happy to get you on the Shrock desk and help you out with that. All right, new coming up on the program, guys. New malware is stealing passwords from Android devices. So we talked about Apple malware earlier in the show. Now your Android phone and tablet could be stealing every password you type into it. We're going to tell you what's going on there. Also, guess who's back? The Russians. The Russians are back and they're on the hack attack. Yes, they're hacking and looking for our COVID research secrets. So once again, if anybody listening to the sound of my voice is in any way involved in COVID vaccine research, in any way, like you're the marketing person for the COVID research company, you definitely need to hear what we have coming up next on ComputeThis.
If you can dream it, Shrock Interactive's website developers can make it happen. Refresh your website, automate sales and marketing, and grow your business today with Shrock Interactive. External hard drives are handy. You can back up multiple computers to them or even use them to move lots of data from one computer to another. Computer users have been buying the same old external hard drives for years. While our computers have been getting faster, we still do backups that take hours or watch epic progress bars creep by to move files. Shrock wanted more for our customers, so our innovators created the fastest external hard drives on the planet. Shrock modular storage devices are up to 50% faster than Seagate or Western Digital externals and are modular in the truest sense of the word. We can create whatever size and speed of drive you need for all of your needs, and all modular storage devices come with a data restoration guarantee. If you use our drives for backing up and your computer's hard drive fails, we'll restore your backup to your repaired computer for free. Fast, simple, and flexible technology solutions from Shrock Innovations. It's what we do. Compute This pro tip number 187. Recently, you may have received a phone call from someone claiming to be from Microsoft or had a message pop up on your screen telling you that your computer was infected. Do not respond to these calls or messages. They're always a scam. Microsoft will never call you about your computer. Here's how the scam actually shakes out. You get the phone call that your computer's infected. The scammers hit you with some mumbo jumbo about an infected IP address. They'll ask your permission to connect and help you fix it. Once they're in your computer, they do a bunch of fake scans that detect a lot of problems that really aren't there. You see the scan results and figure your computer's in trouble. Next, the scammers will demand up to $400 to clean up the computer and set you up with a lifetime protection. Don't fall for the scam. Keep good security software installed like Endpoint and Secure Updater so when things like this do happen, you know you are covered. This pro tip brought to you by Shrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, final segment of the program. Thanks for joining us on the show today. If you like what you hear, keep in mind that the Shrock Innovations Computer Company makes this show possible. So when you do need a new computer, or when you're having a problem with your computer, or if your company needs a website, if you need marketing services, you know, a while back we did a piece for a video for Shrock Interactive, where we talked about how businesses, there's two types of businesses in the world. There are businesses right now that are going to whine and complain and fret over masks and when I say fret, I mean fret over all the aspects of it from a business owner's perspective, right? So you have to keep your staff healthy, because if your staff gets sick, you have to pay them to be out and you lose their productivity. You have to keep the environment safe for your customers, because if you don't, you can get sued by a customer, because there is no lawsuit protection right now. Admittedly, it'd be hard to prove you caught COVID at a particular location, but nevertheless, that's, you know, why does that stop anybody from suing anybody anymore? From a business's perspective, you have to worry about business volume. You know, we're launching a grand opening with the specific purpose of driving physical feet into a physical building in the middle of a pandemic. Now, that might seem crazy for you, but there's two types of businesses in the world. There's the type of business that's going to wring their hands and fret and tell you how unfair it is and how their business is destroyed and there's nothing they can do. And then you're going to have the type of business that's going to make it happen, that's going to hustle. And Mark Cuban said this. He goes, you hear all about all the terrible things that are happening to people, and there are terrible things happening to businesses and people and their livelihoods, and I'm not minimizing that, not one bit. But there is also incredible opportunity for the hustlers out there right now. And by hustlers, I don't mean like hustlers like like the bad guys. I mean people who have the hustle, people who have the desire and the ability to innovate, to change, to adapt, to move fast, and to overcome. If you're that kind of company, now is exactly the time you should be opening a new location. If you are that kind of company, now is the time when you increase your marketing budget. Now is the time when you call Shrock Interactive and get the free chatbot that we're giving away for free on your WordPress website. For heaven's sake. Now is the time that you engage your customers. Now is the time that you do the things you have to do to make them feel comfortable. If your customers want you to wear masks, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Wear the mask. It doesn't matter. It's a mask. It's not hurting. Well, some people will debate me on that. But nevertheless, I want to be that company. And that's why we're moving forward and doing what we're doing at Shrock. Now, the Russians, they're also hustling, you see. The Russians want our COVID research data because everybody wants to be the world's savior and come up with the coronavirus cure. The other thing that's completely obvious is whatever country develops the coronavirus vaccine, cure, whatever, their citizens are going to be the beneficiaries first, right? So a lot of people are like, if America develops it first, Trump won't give it to the world. He'll only give it to Americans. Do you think the Russians are going to do anything different? Or the Chinese? Or the Japanese? Or the Britons? Do you think the people in the UK are going to... Do you think the Queen is not going to be the first person vaccinated if they have a vaccine, right? I mean, realistically, countries are there to take care of their people. So of course that's going to happen first. Now we hope that it would happen in a way that you could take care of your people first and take care of a lot of other people in the world too. That would be ideal, right? But any country that gets this first is going to take care of their people first. And because it's being developed by commercial companies, in many cases, especially in America, the commercial company is not going to just give they're not going to give the secret spice blend away so that the chicken in Russia tastes the same as the chicken in America. It's just not going to happen. Russians can get in line and buy their cures like everybody else. So that's obviously why the entire world, not just Russia, the entire world is spying on everybody else. Anybody who gets any information toward a cure or some kind of a antibody that lasts more than a month or whatever, those are the people that are going to be, the victors that are going to come out economically ahead because their economies can fully reopen months before everybody else's can. So it's really, really important for countries to get that. So if you're in any way involved right now with vaccine development, coronavirus monitoring, contact tracing, anything related to this pandemic whatsoever, it is incredibly important. You're taking a lot of steps to maintain your physical security from the virus. You need to take steps to maintain your digital security from the fallout from the virus. Make sure you have Endpoint. Make sure you have Secure Updater. Make sure that you do your patches and you do Safe Upgrade and you get all your installations up to date, because they are coming for you, and they'll come for you in a lot of ways. I mean, we tongue in cheek, we joked about Elon and Barack Obama getting hacked or whatever. They got hacked because the Twitter guy got hacked. And if the Twitter guy that has the password to the master keys of the kingdom can get hacked through a spear phishing attack, through an email, then you can get hacked too. It's one of the reasons we're stepping up all of our firmware, or all of our firewalls in all of our service centers, because it's just the era that we live in now. So be really careful, guys. If you're involved in COVID research, everybody's coming for your stuff. 888-250-2091. All right, and then the last story that we have for you today that we want to get out the door here before we jump into these final calls. If you have an Android phone, please keep in mind that we can install antivirus on your phone. We can also install antivirus on Apple devices, obviously. But your phone and your tablet, in the past, you have heard me say on the show that thankfully viruses are not targeting these devices yet. But the day will come when that happens. That day is now here. There is a story here on ZDNet about a new type of virus that's called the Blackrock Android malware. It can steal passwords and credit card information from 337 different apps in the Google Play Store. Totally legitimate apps. What happens is you download an app on your phone that might not be entirely legitimate. That app then installs what are called overlays on the phone. And so, for lack of a better term here, imagine if I put a screen on top of your screen, and I registered every tap on your screen, and your apps all work fine, but I was skimming. It's like a skimmer, like a credit card skimmer on a gas pump. I'm stealing the information that you're tapping on the screen. Therefore, you're tapping out your passwords. Therefore, you're tapping out your credit card numbers, and I'm stealing all that information. And these overlays can be used on 337 different apps to steal all your credentials. They steal banking credentials and everything else. How do you make sure you don't have this stuff? Number one, use a little discipline. Don't install every free game that crosses your inbox. If it looks like a shady little Chinese game, I'm seeing all these ads for this game called Top War on my Android phone, and it looks like a shady little Chinese game. I mean, I'm not going to install it. I can obviously tell that this game there's something not right about it. And it's just like a sixth sense. It's like something's not right about that. I'm not going to install that game. If you don't have that sixth sense, and I'm not saying mine is perfect, like me, run Semantic Endpoint on your phone. If you try to do something silly or your phone gets infected with overlay malware, it will find it, remove it, get rid of it, and keep you safe. 888-250-2091. Jim, welcome to the program. How can I help you on ComputeThis today?
Thank you for taking my call. I have a quick question, but hopefully it's an easy fix. Okay. I have an iPad that I use at home, and I've noticed recently in the last week or two, when I try to log on to an app in there, and I go to the Google portion and I put my username and password into it,
right?
It'll get me all into the app, and then right as it gets to go on to the app, it'll click me right back to the screen, to the main screen. The only way I can do this is to go to Google Chrome. Is there something that I need to look at with the iPad and bring it in to get checked out, or what?
What can you share with us what the app is that's crashing?
It'll go on a Fidelity account or whatever.
Okay.
It could be anything.
It's every app is randomly crashing.
Yeah.
Okay. So
right.
if your apps are randomly crashing, the first troubleshooting step that Apple will give you is you have to do a complete hard reset of the iPad like literally reset it back to factory defaults and start over. And that is very much sounds to me like the solution that you get at a flat rate computer repair place that's like, yeah, we can't fix it in 15 minutes, so we're just going to blast it and reset everything. Unfortunately, sometimes that's what you have to do. My daughter's iPad was connecting to the internet when you'd reboot it, and about 5 minutes later, it would lose its connection to the internet. And we just assumed it was our high-quality Cox internet connection that was going down, up and down like a yo-yo for everybody else in our neighborhood. But no, actually, it was her iPad, because then we started hotspotting, so she could have her iPad on, and we noticed it was dropping the connection to the hotspots as well. And so we're like, okay, this is weird. So I went through, I turned, internet on and off on the iPad. I went through all the settings, cleared everything that I could clear. Finally, it got so frustrating, we blasted the whole thing and reset it, and that solved the problem. So honestly, in this particular case, that's the first. If you've tried all the other steps and it's happening across multiple apps, that's going to be your best probable solution to get a fix. There's no need to bring it in to do that. That's something that you can do through the settings at home yourself. And if the problem persists, or if you would prefer us to do that for you, we certainly can. But we prefer you to save that new customer coupon for something you really need us to do, rather than, we'll burn your coupon for, $110 for resetting your iPad. That's something you can totally do yourself at home.
All right, good. Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
thank you, Jim. I appreciate you calling. We got you in the drawing as well here. Jim number 2. Welcome to the... Oh, wait, nope. Previous caller couldn't hear the answer. Please take... Okay, so we'll get back to Jim here in just a moment because he couldn't hear the answer. Jody, welcome to the program. How can I help you on ComputeThis?
Oh, hi. Are you there?
I am here.
Oh, okay. I keep getting this message every once in a while from Microsoft, and it says support for Office 2010 is ending soon.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, like, I've had this for probably over 10 years, and now all of a sudden I have to pay for it?
Yep, you sure do. Yep, and I know
that's kind of like extortion. I bought it, and I've been using it for 10 years, and now I have to pay for it?
Gotcha. And so, Jody, this is one of the common misconceptions about any piece of software you purchase. When you buy software, you never, ever, ever own the software. Now, you might own the disks, but you don't have a license to use the disk forever. The software has a license term, and Microsoft can end that license term anywhere they want to. So new Microsoft software is only good for about 5 or 6 years. So the 10-year stuff, it's going away. It will keep working. It'll just nag you with the nag screens. But if you ever have to reset your computer or do anything like that, it's not going to work. Today's winner, $25 Shrock Innovations gift certificate, is Jim, and we'll see you all again next Sunday for another edition of ComputeThis.
Fueled by Hy-Vee, home of hot deals and hundreds of price declines. This is News Radio 1110 KFAB, Omaha, an iHeart radio station.